This podcast is brought to you by Blossoms PPC, your trusted partner for promotional apparel and uniforms. Since 1998, we've been manufacturing high-quality t-shirts, caps, and bags in bulk with competitive pricing and timely delivery. Visit www.blossomspc.com for more details.
What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Backbenchers podcast. Today we have with us Mr. Saqib from 10 Shelters, who runs a real estate brokerage firm. So, welcome on the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, sir. My first question to you would be, sir, were you a backbencher in college?
Yes, I was always a backbencher at college. It's probably when you used to sit down in the first row or the second row, the teacher would probably ask you questions after the class. So you're a little scared on that part of it, and usually used to be at the back.
So you did your college in St. Joseph's?
St. Joseph's, yes. St.
Which
Joseph's
year?
Commerce College.
Yeah, alright. Which year was this, sir?
2003.
2003, alright. And at that time, you were always like outside college, or what was Brigade Road like at that time?
I never used to like to waste my time on Brigade Road. Yeah, at times we used to catch up for coffee or a meal at Brigade Road. I used to spend a lot of time playing badminton. I was playing professional badminton, was representing college, then went on to play for state for a year, was ranked number 2 in state in 2002. So I was busy with my sports career at that time, and yeah, naturally you have your studies parallelly going, and that's about it. Yes, so never spent so much time on Brigade Road, but yeah, at times we all tend to spend that time.
So, sir, what got you into real estate?
Well, my father was always into real estate. He had a construction company in Chennai, and we relocated in 92-93 from Chennai to Bangalore. My parents shifted in 96 to Bangalore, and I had some kind of interest towards real estate. Used to, go to dad's office, look at some real estate projects he's trying to market, stuff he's trying to build, 1 or 2 buildings, whatever. So I think that initial interest was always there to get into the business, but I was not very sure what I want to do. And after that, when I passed out of college in 2003, I started selling tea for some time. My dad is from Ooty, Kunur, where the beautiful estates are there. I did that as a summer job for about 2-3 months until someone in the 3rd month, called me and said, your tea is not good. And after that, couple of other customers of mine called me and said, Saqib, look, I think there is a problem with your tea. We don't want, to order future, we don't want to order in the future with you. And then I said, let me, start real estate. And I started real estate. I was, very socially good with people. I used to be very friendly to people. There were some club members, friends of mine, 2-3 of them, and they came up to me and said, look, my uncle wants to buy a flat. Somebody said my cousin wants to buy a house. Somebody said my friend wants to invest in an office space. So making that brokerage in that 3-4 lakhs was like huge money, and I said, I think this is what interests me in the business, and it's a lovely business to be in, not sitting down all the time in front of a computer. You keep moving around. You love to interact with people, and I love interacting with people. So it was very good in that way to, I was enjoying what I'm doing. So I think that's very important, that you enjoy what you do.
So, can you tell us about your first real estate deal?
First real estate deal was a friend's house. He was living in Richmond town, and I knew him from college, and he came to me and said, look, my father wants to rent out a house. It's located in Richmond town. He used to stay on the ground floor, and his father had built another extra floor on top, which was like a 2-bedroom house, which was about 1,500 square feet. And if I vaguely remember, the rental was like about 25,000 rupees per month. And that was one of my first transactions what I did on Richmond Road.
Okay. So, and at that time, what made you think that, you would be able to do this? Because I feel that with real estate, it becomes one of the most important things for a person's heart, right? Because of how expensive it is. So, how did you feel that you are garnering trust in people and helping complete the transaction?
Well, I think the first thing which I thought of selling real estate is you sell people assets. Somebody buys for like about 25 lakhs now. Probably that time when I used to sell properties, it would become, it would only multiply. And the history always says in real estate, the asset always multiplies. So I was I was very happy in selling any kind of homes, office space to my clients. The reason being that the money multiplies, and you can go to people and tell them, you have 30 lakhs, you have 50 lakhs with you, you have a crore of rupees, you come and invest in so and so builders. There are a couple of builders who are coming out with projects and everything like that. So I think that made me motivate that I'm going to sell something where when I sell something to someone, it's only going to make them multiply their money.
So, was there a particular habit or a particular skill that you had that improved over time and really helped you in sales?
I think one is communication. I always believe that what you're communicating to your client is very, very important. Uh, you're very truthful in what you're going to sell a product to a customer. You don't overpromise and underdeliver. So I think though communication is one of the key aspects of doing business, but at the same time, having the knowledge, depth knowledge of what you're trying to sell it to a person, and then the real estate transaction just goes on.
So you've been in this industry since the past 22 years. Can you can you just give us a gist about how this industry, about how like the Bangalore real estate field has evolved over this course of time?
Well, it's very hard to believe that Bangalore has grown to such an extent. I remember when I used to market projects in 2004, it was like just barren land. When we used to go, there was absolutely no traffic. Customers sometimes used to feel that let's not do anything after 5:30, 6:30 in the evening. Everything would be at a standstill. But the kind of development what Bangalore is today, probably I would say it's probably close to a metro today. The way how things have really flourished and made the city what our proud Bangalore is, it's unimaginable.
So from an investment standpoint, again, like 20 years back, it was always like the central business district that, like had the spotlight. Now like the city is growing in the outskirts. If you look at Devanhalli, Sarjapur, the city is growing in all directions. Which areas would you recommend from an investment standpoint?
I think investment standpoint, my first location would be Devanhalli towards the airport area. I think there is a good infrastructure over there. The surroundings are good. There is plenty of developments happening there, and at the same time, the prices are not so expensive there since it's like 40-45 kilometers away from the city. So I think that's a very good pocket for anybody to invest right now in Bangalore.
So again, would you recommend realtors again to focus on projects in that area?
See, as realtors, you need to understand of what kind of specialization you want to do in this particular real estate business. When you start as a beginner, you should understand that whether you're trying to sell residential, whether you want to sell commercial, whether you want to do houses. I think the baby steps what one has to take is to understand on what kind of market he wants to sell the product in.
So following up on that, like let's just say like Arham and I are like want to get into the real estate business and we come to you for advice. Like if you could give us like maybe one or two pieces of advice, what would they be?
Like example, can you
Like
just
okay, so Arham and I like we want to become realtors and we approach you and say like can you just give us some advice on becoming a good realtor, not just for the short term, but like the way you've been in this industry for more than 20 years. Like one day that we want to last in this industry for that long, what are some fundamentals that you could teach us that would take us a long way?
I think the fundamental is first, if you're in college, the first thing would be nowadays you have lot of access in your Instagrams, in your YouTube videos and everything. I think the first step would be, if you are interested in real estate, you would want to see videos of people who have been in real estate for the longest time. The learnings what you get from them is something very amazing. Even being 22 years in the industry, I look at so many videos where where I watch where more experienced people than me, who have been in the business for the last 40 years, what they have done right to become successful. So I think the first start would be getting knowledge. Knowledge is power. That is the most important thing one must gain before starting any business, or especially in real estate. When you should have that knowledge, because what will you sell to a customer when you don't have a knowledge?
Absolutely.
So can you give us an example of who you'd like to watch, like people who've had this much experience, like let's say for example on YouTube? Do you have any gurus or anyone you take inspiration from?
uh, yes, there are quite a few people whom I usually watch a lot of videos on motivational speakers,
Okay.
because in general they talk a lot of they talk a lot of lot of things about you know having good in sales, especially having good communication skills, having punctuality in what you do, being a good learner.
Yes, sir.
I think these are the important things what
So, if I was to take a very specific example, like how Adnan said, we've just started out our business and we come to you and we say, how do we reach at least 100 people that are interested in buying and selling a home and convert maybe 10 people into at least following us with the journey of, looking at properties, and maybe convert 5 into actually making a sale?
I think the easiest thing would be is just get an Instagram page for yourself.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And start shooting properties videos, have a complete tour on the particular property which you are trying to market it, and send it across to your friends, family. I know you guys are young and you don't have a database of clients, but the easiest way to do is to have an Instagram page, and on the LinkedIn, connect with people, and once you make connections, I think sales will automatically happen.
So, sir, for you, for example, if you were a normal customer and you see this kind of Instagram page, what would be those few things that would make you trust these kind of brokers? Is connections maybe one of the biggest things?
I always believe that it is not only selling the product, it is people buy real estate because of the person also. So I think the important factor is, yes, the initial interest is there with the customer. When he looks at your Instagram videos, it is nice, it's beautiful, it's attractive, but you know all that is there. But when a customer meets you in person, you have that kind of in-depth knowledge about what you are trying to sell. That gives the customer that satisfaction. Okay, I met this guy, he's got that knowledge to sell a particular flat or house and office space or whatever. But when you are trying to sell that customer that particular product, you can't just sell him one. He's not just going to look at one property and buy just that particular one. He's going to look around. So when he's going to look around, you should have that in-depth knowledge to show him couple of projects and tell him why to choose this particular project, A versus B or B versus C, and then convince him to sell the product.
So I have one question. What do you what makes a great property? Like from an investment standpoint, like what is the kind of property that like a customer should really like look at?
I think it is a developer who's been developing good projects. I would say a grade A developer who's been doing who's having a very good track record, who's been delivering project for years. I think those are the important, one of the most important keys that anyone will look for
Okay.
And in
in
terms
investing.
of a property on its own, like for example, the project, you assess based on the brand, based on the builder.
I think location also plays a very important role, and what are the kind of amenities you have and the kind of surroundings you have. Like it could be, accessible to schools, accessible to hospitals.
So, and one thing that if you look at like the entire brokerage business, 10 years, I think around 10 years back is when platforms like co-broker and all of these guys have popped in. And when they enter the market, they always they promise no brokers basically. Like we're gonna remove brokers out of the entire real estate space. But they're nowhere close to that. In fact, based on what we've been seeing, a lot more brokers have been entering the industry, and the brokerage business is doing phenomenally well. Why has that happened?
I think there are certain sectors where as you mentioned, nobroker.com, there will be many companies who will come with different ideas, ideologies, and start their own business and everything. But I believe a broker is a very important part of your investment. What an individual does, he's putting all his hard-earned money to buy a particular property or buy a particular asset. It is very important for you, like how you have a family doctor, it is very important for you to have a family real estate consultant who helps you to choose the right property. Today, when I browse and I go on property portals, I can find 1,000 properties listed. But how do I choose? How do I make this search very simple? When I go to people who have that experience in the real estate industry, he or she will help me or to or guide me to choose that particular nice property, what is good,
Yes, sir.
as a good as an investment for that particular individual.
So, what is the one thing that you do right now, or the one source that you have that actively increases your client database?
I think Instagram is one of the biggest tools, at least for me, that how I have increased my clientele. It's like just by posting videos, people have a look at it. Even if someone is not interested, he he shares it with his friends, his family, and that's the way you multiply your clients.
So, what led you to start posting properties on Instagram?
Good question. Well, I thought that I was seeing a couple of real estate influencers from Dubai doing it. I was seeing a couple of uh, real estate brokers from Mumbai doing this, and I said, why not I try this? And I've done this for the last 1.5, 2 years, and I've been very successful on this. So I always believe that in sales, you should always try out new things, and you should have that that coverage of 360 degrees in your marketing, where you cover each and every aspect. I do have my database, I do have my regular clients, but how do I expand my clientele? It could be one of the ways is Facebook, Instagram.
Yes, sir.
So, in your entire clientele, if you had to divide them up based on requests on area, like for example, 10 people want to buy a property in Devnali, 10 want to buy it in Koramangala or Whitefield, what would the split be like in terms of the areas in Bangalore?
I think a lot of activity today is happening towards North Bangalore, is what I say. I think at least about 50%, according to me, the requirements what we are having at the office today is towards North Bangalore. But today, what has happened? Bangalore has expanded towards different areas: a Whitefield, a Kanakpura Road, a Jayanagar, a JP Nagar, a Mysore Road. So I think it's fairly divided with requirements today. It is only on individuals, thinking that he's got his family members close to that area. Somebody is like you has grown up in a particular area. You just want to be in that area. You're comfortable staying in that particular area. But I would say a lot of activity is happening towards North Bangalore.
So, now again, this question is not related to any of this. As a realtor, the major thing, as you mentioned earlier, is like the major thing that you offer your customers is your expertise and your time, and that's your most valuable resource. Again, like in any business, there are always two kinds of customers: the genuine ones and the ones who are just there to waste time. How do you differentiate between a genuine customer and somebody who's just iffy and might waste your time?
I think with a couple of visits, you understand whether this person is looking to buy a property genuinely. Is he like just coming and having a look at just couple of properties just to you know probably just waste his time? And the the main thing what I feel is that when you are marketing a property, you need to understand the client. I would say understanding the client is the most important thing in sales. You have to understand what is his budget, what is he looking at, what are the areas he wants to be in, which areas he wants to be in, what is the surroundings he wants to live in. I think these are the kind of important things one needs to understand. But as you gain your experience, you will understand who is a potential client and who is not. But at an early stage, I would say please go ahead and experience it with people who are potential and people who are non-potential also, because I feel every customer is a learning.
Yes, sir.
So, do you think there is a benefit in spending that kind of time and energy into converting even the clients that are non-genuine into someone that could potentially be a genuine client?
I think every client is a genuine client. I feel I have never come across clients who would probably waste your time and think, but there is a certain percentage of people. But it is how you talk to them, how you try to understand them on what is their budget. As I told you previously also, understanding the client is the most important thing. And once you understand him, even a non-potential buyer can buy a property from you. And I would say if some customer comes to you and just looks at 5-8 properties and buys the property, okay, you've done a good job. But when you convert a non-potential customer and then convert that into a sale, is just the most amazing thing any realtor could do.
So again, like the point that you mentioned, like if there's one thing that like I personally feel, even Aram and I have had this conversation before, a realtor is in a way the ultimate salesman. Like anybody can convince someone, to buy a t-shirt, buy a pair of shoes, but you're convincing somebody to drop crores, like spend a few lakhs, if not a few crores on a property. Like that's a lot of money again. So how do you ensure like that sale goes through? Like in the sense that again, like when it comes to buying a property of such a high value, people are going to have second thoughts and they're going to think, maybe I can get a better deal here, get a better deal there. How do you how do you close that kind of deal?
I think the first important thing for any person, any realtor to do a sale is to really understand what kind of pricing does the customer want. As you mentioned to me that if there is a customer who's an high end customer who's putting crores of rupees. Now when I sell customers high end products, I am very confident that what product I am selling is a very unique product.
Okay.
It is very competitive in the way of the pricing what we are offering to the customer. What I am trying to sell is one of the best locations. What I am trying to sell is one of the best developers in the city or in India. So when I am convinced with myself that what I am trying to sell the customer, this particular apartment, this particular house, this particular villa, I am sure that the customer will get convinced and will buy a property. And when I market my products, whatever projects I am doing with different kind of developers, I don't sell each and every developer. I convince myself that this is a good product. This is a good product to sell it to a customer where he can take this, where he invests this money and it will definitely multiply. So to answer to your question, you should have that confidence in you that this is a good product. This is an amazing price what I'm getting the customer. This is a fabulous location. And when you as a salesperson answer these questions, I'm sure the sale will happen.
So do you ever ask yourself that if I had this budget, I would be comfortable buying this property? Is that something that
I
makes you
think
trust it?
first you have to put yourself in the shoes of the customer, that if I had this 5 crore rupees of my hard earned money, would I invest in this particular developer? And if the answer is yes, I think go ahead and sell the product to the customer.
So, over the course of this conversation, again, you've given a big emphasis to the developer of the project. So, as a realtor, how do you find good developers to work with?
Apart from our main brand.
Apart from main brands, I would say that when you physically go and visit projects with developers who have done not necessarily a 50, 100, but at least about 5, 6, 7, 10 projects, you go physically, you inspect the property, you have a look at the kind of quality what they have maintained in the project, the kind of amenities what they have given, the kind of workmanship what they have given in the project. I think once you have those questions answered, that's when even I, as a as a company, as a broker, I would get convinced to sell to somebody else.
Okay, that's very fascinating. And so, another question that I have is, so how, like, again, at rent shelters, can I just know, like, how big of a team are you guys?
We have a 15-member team at Rent Shelters.
So how do you scale a team? Like, again, like a lot of people who enter the real estate space, they usually just end up with like a broker firm or maybe themselves and like one or two people. Like, how are you able to build a firm that has so many people in it?
I think for any company, teamwork is very, very important. So let me give you an example. If I'm a realtor who's in Bangalore and I'm trying to sell something in Whitefield, it's going to take me the entire day to just go and complete a viewing and come back.
Yes, sir.
If I go to Whitefield, I'll take 2 hours. And I do not know any customer who comes on time. He'll probably make me wait for half an hour, 1 hour, 2 hours, or whatever. And by the time I finish the inspection and I come, my entire day is over. So I believe that in real estate, having a team is always a blessing. And when you have a team with you, you can concentrate on different pockets of Bangalore,
Yeah.
where you will be able to sell a lot more projects. As an individual, you'll be able to only concentrate on a particular segment or a particular area. But when you have a team, you can always, like, we have a team which does residential, we have a team which does commercial, we have a team which does rental, we have a team which does only corporate leasing. So I think that's the kind of division one needs to have, to do it, to sell a lot of properties.
So, and coming to a technical part now, if you're comfortable sharing this, so when you have realtors under you, like what is the pay structure like? Is it like a base salary with a commission, or is it purely commission? Like how does that work?
So there are different formats where different owners who own real estate companies work, but we follow a formula where your basic salary is given to each and every employee, and once you start doing the particular transactions, you start with about 10-15% as your remuneration on what the company gets, and as you move to a seniority level, it gets to about 20-25%.
Okay. So would you recommend, again, like if there's a student who's trying to get into real estate, would you recommend that as like a way to grow? Like join a existing brokerage firm and like learn the business and then try to grow.
I think that's the best way to do. If you're a student and if you're in college, I think the best way to do is to work with, shadow a good realtor, and you learn a lot of things, working for someone, and you tend to get that experience of how the company, how the individual is trying to sell the product, how the thing to different people, and once you get that experience, you get that confidence to grow or even probably build your own company.
So there's one question that's fascinated me for a really long time, and I've not been able to understand it per se. Like these big developers, whether it's Prestige, Brigade, Embassy, they have enough money to hire their own sales team. But why globally, why is there always a need for channel partners to sell a property? Why are they not able to sell properties just by themselves?
I think for any developer, his channel partners are very important for him to do the sales of his particular projects, because I feel you can have a 10-member team, you can have a 20-member team, but when you have about say 3 to 5,000 people under you, in the sense, giving them information and trying to market your particular project, that works well as for a developer, because where can 20 people, 25 people, 30 people reach the entire Bangalore or the entire country? But whereas a realtor who's there, I would say probably about 2,000, 3,000 realtors. Imagine when you have a, connect with good 2,000, 3,000 realtors, and the kind of magnitude of sale what they can give you is something very amazing. So I think any developer, as you said, has a sales team, but it's very difficult for him to sell out a project without channel partners.
So
That
to add to that, wouldn't a customer just trust a third-party realtor much more than a company's own sales team when it comes to converting to sales? Because for the realtor, what matters is just a sale, but for them, what matters is their own particular sale, right? So naturally, they would show that property in a much better light than an unbiased realtor.
Yes, I would agree that a developer is always got that upper hand, where when you deal as a customer, when you deal with the particular developer or particular company, that the customer feels more comfortable. But I feel gone are the times when that used to happen. Now customers are open to working with realtors, because when I am as a realtor, I am trying to market 10 projects. I am not going to tell this project by Brigade is one of the best. I am not going to tell this project with Prestige is one of the best.
yes, sir.
I am going to try to give you options of 10, 15 developers, and I am going to try to help you invest on a particular property, saying, okay, this is a property built by the Prestige Group, this is a property built by Brigade, this is a property built by Embassy. So as a customer, he is very happy to deal with me, because he knows that for me every developer is the same, but I am trying to sell him a good product at the end of the day. And when he comes to me, he gets that insights on all the developers. But whereas when the customer goes to a Brigade Group or a Prestige Group, the marketing sales might say, this is my project, this is a a very unique project, this is the best project by Brigade Group, or this is the best project by Embassy. But as I told you, that when you come to me, when you come to a broker, he will give you a bouquet of projects.
Yes, sir. So, and another technical question. So, when there is a real estate transaction, especially with the develop, I mean, when anybody is buying a flat, there's going to be a lot of like negotiation. So, like when you're like after a certain point, if you're like really trying to close a deal, like that negotiate, I mean, like the reduction in price in the negotiation, is it from like the developer's end, or sometimes is there a cut from your end too?
No, it is always from the developer's end. For example, somebody is trying to sell a product for 3 crores, and I take the customer and have a meeting with the developer, and the customer offers a 2.8 crore pricing for a 3 crores flat. I still get my brokerage what I am supposed to get, and it's entirely up to the developer to give that 20 lakhs, 10 lakhs, 5 lakhs discount, whatever he wants to. So there's nothing cut from my side.
So does it worry you when one side, at least the side that is selling, suddenly becomes very flexible with price and maybe suddenly reduce it by a 5-10% almost, and then you wonder, is there something wrong?
Usually with many top developers, always the pricing is pretty much the same. There is
Yeah.
not much of negotiation. It's pretty much a Bata price,
Okay.
Yeah.
I would say.
But with individuals who are selling,
With individuals who are selling, yes, there is a deduction on pricing, say about 5%, 7.5%, or whatever, but it entirely depends, on how sooner the guy wants to, sell the particular apartment. Is he in real need to sell? So there are different kind of sellers in the market. Somebody who just waits for his price, even he can wait for 3 months, 6 months. Somebody doesn't have that time limit to, wait. He wants to sell it off in 15 days, 20 days. So you see that reduction happening, but it's based on deal to deal.
So coming to that, how much do you think the average broker in a place like Bangalore, let's say they were doing maybe 100 deals a year, would that be a realistic amount?
Yes,
100 deals would be.
100 deals. Yes, absolutely.
And a value ranging from around, like deal size value.
I think a good realtor should be able to make at least about 2 to 3 crores a year in Bangalore.
Okay.
The kind of construction, the kind of opportunities what a realtor has in Bangalore.
So that means that they're doing in total, let's say, almost 100 crores worth of
Yes.
land sales.
Yes.
That's pretty fascinating.
Yeah.
And so another question, like again, when you mentioned earlier that just like you have a family doctor, you should have like a family realtor. Now again, with a family doctor, it's like a trial and error process. You might find a good one, you might not find a good one. Eventually, you find a good one. But while finding a good realtor, I mean, if you mess up in the first time, you might lose a big chunk of your money in that property where you don't get the opportunity to buy another one again. How can someone find a good realtor in like the first shot?
Very good question. What I feel is whenever a customer comes to you for the first time, he's not going to make you a family realtor.
Okay.
He is going to, he is going to have that experience that first time, the second time, the third time. And I think relationships are built in couple of years. Nothing happens overnight. So I feel that no customer is going to make you a family realtor in like 3 months or 6 months or 8 months or 10 months or even a year. It takes time. It will take a couple of years for you to build that kind of trust with that particular customer for him to make you,
A family realtor.
family consultant.
Sir, and again, like just another question. It's a really like basic question, but when you're trying to buy properties on the outskirts, again, it's we've all heard of like stories going bad. Like suddenly there's like one relative who comes out of nowhere, asks for his share. There's a litigation on the property. How can one do their homework right before buying a property in these kind of areas? Like what are some things that you look at before you sell a property to your clients to know that okay, like this is genuine and there's not going to be any problem with that?
Well, at times, even when you buy a property which is completely clear, somebody can just come up and say, this property is mine. But there are procedures where, the lawyer does his due diligence. You see the sale deed, you see the EC, you see the khata. There are various documents which one needs to procure when you try to sell a particular property. But I think unfortunately in India, you might have the most crystal clear property and putting your hard-earned money of 10, 15 crores and suddenly somebody crops up and says the property is mine. I think that's something what we have to live with it.
So what percentage of properties have you experienced that, you would have thought is crystal clear and suddenly a litigation issue comes up with it?
I think more so it happens a lot with lands.
Yeah, with land.
With lands, I think there is a segmentation of about 5% where
So
that happens.
on the Nikhil Kamath podcast, so Mr. Irfan Razak mentioned like he spoke a lot about the real estate laws in Bangalore and how they can be modified to become a lot better. What are some laws that you feel the government should work on to make like the entire realty sector in Karnataka or Bangalore a lot more favorable and transparent?
I think what the you know we they are doing a good at least they are doing a good job right now in the infrastructure. You see the metro connectivity. You see even in Bangalore that 20, 25, 30 kilometers what a person travels, he's able to get to a destination in 45 minutes, in 1 hour. But answering to your question, what are the things that which can help the real estate grow? It could be that simple having a good TDR where you can build lot more homes for people, having more streamlined laws where somebody procures a land, where you have the list of things what one documents people need to have. Nowadays you have that complications of A khata, B khata, somebody is telling some other thing, you know. So when people, you know, customers who are buying, they themselves are clueless because
Yeah.
of this.
Yes, sir.
So I feel, you know, once the government streamlines all this process, it will make, you know, people's life easier.
That's true. So also I mean, I noticed on your Instagram that you were marketing a prestige property in Mumbai. So how are you managing operations in Bangalore and in Mumbai?
Well, I'm a sales guy. If you give me a property in Timbuktu also, I'll be able to sell it. I think it's all in the mind.
Yes, sir.
I don't have offices in Cochin. I don't have offices in Hyderabad. I've still sold properties in Hyderabad. I've sold property in Cochin. I've sold property in Delhi. I've sold property in Mumbai. I think it's all in the mind. And once you see a particular city doing well and you get that confidence, and once you get that confidence to, you know, that, you know, you're doing some kind of sale, you can set up an office over there. But now the thinking would be, why would you want to, you know, have that overhead
Yes, sir.
with you? You can just still market. But I always feel that, you know, it's all in the mind. You
So-
can market it anywhere.
How people viewed Bangalore in the past and then how it ended up developing. Do you think that there is that kind of opportunity in the tier 2 cities in India today? And if so, which one?
I think tier 2 cities are, you know, doing really very good. And there's a lot of money also coming in from tier 2 cities. In fact, I was with a developer friend of mine from Dubai about a year back, and I was just generally having a conversation. We just met up for coffee, and, you know, we were generally talking. And then I asked him, like, you know, where's your major chunk of investments where people are investing in Dubai or other places? So I was shocked to, you know with this all this two-tier cities like Baroda, Vishakhapatnam, all the other places in India, like, the major chunk of money is coming from there for people to invest in various other parts of the world, which was very surprising for me.
So like places like the tech part in Hyderabad and even like in Gandhinagar, the way they're setting up Gift City, do you feel like these are opportunities still for people?
I think these are opportunities, very good opportunities for people, because the prices are still at a very low price. And I feel if anybody invests, you have that scope of the property getting appreciated. And I would say, when you look at investing in places like that where property prices have not appreciated, you will definitely benefit as an investor.
So as an investor, my next question would be that do you think that at different price levels, let's say you've done 100% of your homework, everything correctly, the higher you go in terms of price levels, the better returns you're likely going to expect. Like, for example, it would be more beneficial for me to save up 2 crores and invest rather than invest 50 lakhs.
It basically depends on, what is the kind of opportunity you're getting in the market to invest. So it could be an office space you're getting at 50 lakhs and your ROI return is good to invest. I would suggest you go ahead with that 50 lakhs investment. But at the same time, people have that kind of budgets in mind. That I have this investment of 2 crores, I have this investment of 4 crores or whatever. But I would say that whatever level of, whatever budget level one has to invest the money, you go in the market, you connect yourself with brokers, you have portals, you have different ways to, shop for properties. And when you get a good property with an ROI, I think people should not hesitate. They should just go ahead and buy the property.
So to tackle budget constraints, the whole concept of fractional ownership came about. But do you think that that's a viable system? And how does the payment and returns work on that?
Well, they are customers who come up and, tell me they are not very happy with fractional investments. And they are people who only look at, investments with, say, a lock and key, which is that I've invested 3 crore rupees. I can go and see the 4 walls and I can see my investment secured. But there are people who do fractional investments also, because your rate of return is much higher. to what one would invest. But if you ask me, I would invest in probably a commercial property, or even an undivided share where you register the property, which developers like Prestige, Embassy, and Brigade also sell. That's also a good methodology to do your investment, where it's an undivided share, but still you register that particular space. For example, you buy a 2,500 square feet space and you get that 50 rupees per square foot return. I think that is very safe. But fractional is something which has not convinced me. So I have not been out in the market to sell it to different customers.
So in a place like Bangalore, like let's say you take 2,000 square feet, and let's say you have maybe 2,000 square feet of land in a pretty central location in Bangalore, but it's just land, it's not developed yet. What is the one thing that's gaining you the most return? Like, renting it out to a restaurant, selling it as a house, pickleball court,
I think building a
commercial.
commercial office space. You see, Bangalore is just growing and growing and growing. And I feel that, if you have a 2,000 square feet land in the central, and if it has a scope that it can become a commercial property, my first choice would be is to build a small commercial building, which can get you some fantastic returns.
And if it was on the outskirts of the city?
If it's on the outskirt of the city, it's all about ideas. It's all about what's there in the particular surroundings. If you have schools, you have colleges, you have a lot of, work environment, you have a lot of tech parks, you do PGs, you do, one bedroom homes, which can fetch you a higher amount of rentals. So it will all depend on where you have your land situated and what is surrounding that, what are the areas close by, and according to that, anyone would probably want to do his thought process in that particular fashion to get his ROI return.
So, what is your opinion on co-working spaces? Have they convinced you, or
See, Adnan, there are different kinds of customers, there are different kind of clients in the market. Somebody is, he is very convinced with going to a co-working. He does not need to have people like, for example, having an office boy to close your office, having to worry about tea, coffee, having to worry about the Xerox machine, and other factors. So he's very comfortable to do in co-working. But at the same time, I have people who say, I don't want any customer just, walking in where there are 200, 300 people just around. I want it in a more,
private?
another, yes, a good environment where, people come to me, people come to me, to my office to just meet me. I don't have that trouble in, and everybody is so busy with their life. Do you have that time to go ahead and, book your conference room at so and so time, so and so, stipulated time that, I should have I will have a meeting at 3 o'clock and I book that slot for 1 hour. Client can come 1 hour late. What would you do then?
Absolutely.
So, but I would say an office space for any whether it's for a small entrepreneur or a travel agent or any kind of a business what you want to run, nothing like having an own office space for yourself. I understand at times it might be a little taxing on your budget, but I think that's the best way anyone could have his office in a
In their own space.
space. Yes.
So, and again, coming to the conclusion of the podcast, one question that we've asked all the realtors that we've had before: how do you build a good network that's enabled you to do business on this level? Like, can you tell us the way you went
Yes.
about it?
So, as I mentioned to you earlier in the podcast, I used to play badminton.
Yes, sir.
And other than that was studying in college, what I was like 20, 22 years back, 25 years back, when I used to, study with like how you guys are, getting, doing your degree and thing. I think for me, the first way to build clientele was to, uh, being that social with people. You have to have that that thing in you where, you go to people and talk to them. And when you talk to them, you get to know people, meet people for coffee. You'll be surprised, first few clients of mine were people who were gymming with me.
Okay.
And they bought quite a few properties with me. And there were some customers of mine who used to play badminton with me. And their cousins, their friends. I think that's the way how you build your clientele, where you meet one person for a coffee. Not necessarily you have to do business with him, but once you get to know a particular person, there are chances that, okay, he'll tell, okay, Saqib is there, so and so of my friend is there, and he is in this real estate business. Why don't you buy a particular property with me? So even today, my rule is, even after being 22 years in business, if some potential customer, or if a customer even does not buy a property from me, my job is to go and meet a new individual, so that I get that connect with that particular person. And it so happened where I have met my friends for a coffee, and he's called me like after 6 months. He said, like, I met you in Mumbai, I met you in Delhi, we met in Bangalore, my cousin wants to buy a flat. So the 2 minutes thing, what I did was I shared my number with him, and he has my number, and he says, Saqib Real Estate Trend Shelters. When somebody, any of his cousin, any of his friend, or anybody calls him, he will probably remember you.
Yes, sir.
I think that's the best way to build your clientele is, by connecting with people. And the second method would be Instagram. It's working very well today. Everybody is on digital.
So then if you want to become a realtor, in some way being an extrovert is absolutely mandatory. Would you agree with that?
Yes, I think so. You have to have that thing where, you should go and talk to people. Let me tell you an incident. 1 year back, I was going on a metro.
Okay.
I met a guy called Rahul. I just started a conversation with him on, general, like, he told me he's working for so and so company, and I told him I'm into real estate. He said, wow, okay, fantastic. My family is looking for a 4 crore investment. So I was like, okay. And next day I followed up with a message sending him a few properties on WhatsApp. And he looked at the few properties, and then, he went a little cold on that for a month. And after 3 months, I get his message that, now my family is sold a property and I have the funds ready. And at the 4th month, he concluded a property sale of 4 crores. So it's basically, interacting with people. You have to have that thing in sales where, you talk to people. You don't feel shy. It is not necessary that if I meet Adnan, somewhere in a gym, and, I don't talk to him, then how will I do my sale?
So do you feel that again your approach based on like what I've understood is to see people as more than just a customer or a number and to see them as like an actual person, as like a friend? Do you think that approach has helped you a lot?
I think that approach has helped me a lot, because I never think of any individual that, oh, this guy is going to invest, this particular individual is going to invest. So for me, the thing is, I get to know a new person, my day is done. I don't have to do a sale.
Yes, sir.
I get to know 2 people, I get to know 3 people. Even if there is a customer who's asking, for a 5 crore property, he is asking a 7 crore, I will still go meet him.
Yeah.
Because when I meet up with him, there are chances I'll be able to do more properties what he has to sell those properties, rather than just just having a 1-minute conversation on the phone. So I think meeting up with people, interacting with people is the first step towards sale.
Have you tried pickleball, sir?
I've tried pickleball.
Because the moment we mentioned pickleball, you actually laughed at it. That's why.
Yes. Actually, about couple of months back, nowadays the children all are on Instagram.
Yes, sir.
And my son was, just scrolling some pages on Instagram. And then he told me, Dad, let's go and play pickleball. So I just took him on a Sunday and
Did you go to Go Rally by any chance?
I went to Go Rally.
So we had the founders of Go Rally on the podcast actually.
Okay.
So that's one of the reasons why we mention it also.
Okay.
Because
So I went there to go rally, and I had a good 1 hour session with my son.
Yes,
He
sir.
enjoyed the game, but I still feel that me playing badminton, it burns more calories than what a pickleball would do.
Have you tried
So that was
paddle?
the first and the last time I played pickleball.
Have you tried paddle, sir?
No, not really.
I think you should paddle squash.
Uh, Long back,
Okay.
but now you don't get time. I go to the gym thrice a week. I play
Okay.
badminton twice a week, and then my week is over with full-time work. It's difficult to do many things.
I
So
think
what
when
is
Sir wants
a
to branch out to new clientele, he'll go to new sports.
absolutely? So what is a day in your life like?
So that'll be our concluding question.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we're really curious.
So basically, I think for anybody to be successful, is time management is very, very important. And my day starts off at about 5:30 in the morning. I first get up and perform my prayers, and once I finish that, I'm I'm a lot into my particular emails, what my customers have asked for particular properties, and just browse, read some newspapers, and just follow up on the office work, what's going on, what customers we need to follow up on that particular day. And when I get to office by about 9:45, 10 in the morning, I start my day with meeting my staff members, what clients we have on that particular day, inspections, on which executive will be going to which part of the city, follow up with customer calls, and then I finish my day at about say about 6:30 in the evening. And then I love playing badminton. I go thrice a week
Okay.
for badminton, and I go to the gym twice a week, and then my day ends.
I think with that, we come to an end to the podcast. It's been absolutely great because we've never gotten such an in-depth technical overview and also such a masterclass in sales. The points that you reiterated about trust, about knowledge of the product is really helpful in all fields. So thank you so much for that, sir.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you so
having
much.
me.